Hope you enjoy everyone. Thanks for watching. This is Last Game Related Review who on Digimon Universe Appli Monsters Episode 9. This episode was definitely very funny because it wasn't the typical, episode that you expect. It's like very comedic in a big way, but then things start to go around like much later. You know, uh, Situation for them is this right now. This episode was basically like an Olympic contest, see who was the best Appmon. The one who decided this was Gatchmon and Navimon, deciding who was the best Appmon. They're the one who decided this and decided to rope every other Appmon together in this. And it's basically a contest of champions, It's definitely very unique when you think about it. I also think how funny it is, because everyone got involved. There's even some other guest Appmon. There's MCmon, which is like basically a blue Musamon. He looks like Musamon, but he's a different color and stuff. Blue instead of orange. He wears sunglasses. They call themselves brothers, but they're not. They just look very similar. And there's also a Motomon, which is kind of a hamster-looking Appmon. I think he's supposed to be like one of the. They're supposed to be like the MC. Like the guest judges or whatever. And they have the Appli drivers too, like Haru, Astra, and Kirin. All three of them are there. All the Applimon, including the 7 codes Applimon, are they collected. So far, 2 of them. It's pretty funny when you think about it. This is just to prove which was funny. And it wasn't their fault. I really like how it was because this was very comedic. Like you had the foot race, like the one who won that one was Musamon, but because Plumimon, decided to, do something funny instead of running, he rolled to the finish line. And then there was the Finding the Clue one. It's pretty, and that was also funny, And the way they did it, it's pretty hilarious. Especially but there was also the fighting round, which was at the end of the show, fighting, the fighting, was they each pick different Applimons up and to choose as their partners so they can take their powers and adapt them. Because we've seen how these Appli work. You take out qualities of other Applimon and put them to your Applimon, but you could also, do app fusion if you can find the right one who you're compatible with. We've seen that before. There's also you get to learn about what Leviathan is. You see, in the future, artificial intelligence do exist. The Applimon are proof of that. Artificial intelligence, they grow, and evolve with their intelligence. They become super smart. Especially when on the options that you use. Like, for example, when it comes to Appli2 or YouTube, the more you push in, when you put in your own qualities, it learns from that information, evolves, and grows smarter. I mean, today, hey, artificial intelligence basically runs the world of Digimon. In that world, artificial intelligence, controls everything. It's all digital. However, Leviathan was the first super AI, but this AI became so more intelligent and mad, and they decided to hack other Applimon with the L virus, causing mayhem and pain to humans. I think it's like that whole, it's like that whole basically, Terminator stuff like that. Super AI gets super smart. He wants to conquer, wipe out humanity and eventually rule the world. Kind of like that. Sky. If you get the Terminator Skynet reference, it's kind of like that. Well, and this tournament is also not just ordinary stuff. It's also training to see. Because if they eventually face Leviathan, then it's gonna have to work. And remember, I said this before in my last review. If you want, you should see my other videos, like on Digimon Appli Monsters. Like so far they're just the new kids on the block, so they don't know. They just got their Applimon, but they don't know how to work together as a team. Eventually, they'll grow and develop and become stronger. However, that's still a long ways off. Like, for example, what they're dealing with right now. As they're getting ready to, work together, or not really work together, do the competition, they get an unexpected guest. They're being watched, and they're engaged into body by a new Applimon, which is called Hackmon. He's this dark hooded figure, overall. And the way he just derailed all of them. It's kind of like that moment. You ever watch those TV shows, like, the moment when superhero shows where the bad guy's gonna come, when he shows up, he beats up the hero. Sorry about that. That moment in TV shows where the superhero meets the bad guy and the bad guy beats the hell out of him. It's a lot like that. It's definitely very crazy when you think about it. And when he did that huge vanish claw, that with just one move he knocked them all out. He even distorted the space they were in. Like, they were in the digital space, which was called the cyber arena. It was inside Haru's school. So they can all gather there. It's a big space in the gymnasium. But he let them know this. Hey, if you guys are all playing fun and games, you'll never be enough to defeat Leviathan. This is what the world will become when Leviathan comes forth, like, basically. And they get to see that there's that Hackmon has an Appli driver, which is his partner. And he holds a black Appli drive. We don't know who this person is or why, but we know he has at least one of the seven code Appmon. He has one of the 7 codes. That means, and then there's and that means eventually he's gonna come into contact with the other codes eventually, which means that he's in conflict with the others. I mean, and this is just the first mini. Next time it's gonna get a lot worse. Especially if you've seen the preview. I've seen the preview, so I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I say this episode was it was very humorous, but it got so serious at the end. I really enjoyed it. I give it a thumbs up. What about you? Hope you enjoyed this content. I'll give a review on on Digimon Fusion Appli Monsters as episode 9. I can't wait to see what happens next. What do you think? This was very comedic and serious. I'm out. Now, this is Sullivan. I'll give my latest review. I'm out. See you next time. Bye.